Hello, future honors students. My name is Dr. Jacob Greenberg, and I'm going to be teaching the legacy of technology in early human history. My PhD and background is actually in science. And so my PhD is in chemistry. I have degrees from the University of New Mexico in biology and chemistry. And so I'm teaching a class mostly based in history. And so what that means is we're going to be taking a very different approach to discussing how history happened. And what I mean by that is we're going to be going back millions of years to the very first person. What does that even mean, first person? But we'll talk about that in our class. Let me give you a couple of examples of what we'll discuss here in our class. So, some of you might recognize that this is an Egyptian papyrus. And so, when we're looking at this from a historical perspective, most of the time we're thinking about, well, what do these images mean? What is the story that they're trying to tell us based on these images and based on these symbols that, of course, are words, right? But in our class, we're not really going to approach it that way. It's more like, well, what is this made of? How did they make this? And how was it so that they made it so that it persisted so long that we can look at an artifact like this here in today's modern world? What kind of an ink is this? They see red and black. Well, what's the difference here? Is there something that's going to now make a really big impact on the rest of human history because of this ink? Take another example. Here we have a Grecian urn. And if you guys take Greek mythology, you might actually look at this exact specific urn. And what you would talk about is, well, what's the story behind this? What do these figures mean? And in our class, it's going to be more along the lines of, well, how did they make this? What is this made of? What kind of a kiln did they use to be able to fire this so that it was able to be sustainable so long that we can look at this today in a museum? So things like this is more what we're going to be exploring in early technology of human history. So in our class, we're going to have mostly discussion-based type learning, where we're going to have presentations where I'm going to present some stuff, you guys are going to present some stuff. To be specific, one topic that I'm going to assign you, and one topic that's of your choosing, that's something that has impacted history today. And so when you're thinking about, well, how do I begin even studying anything at a university? This is a really good starting point. Who was the very first chemist? Who was the very first doctor? Who was the very first historian? And things like that, and the understanding of what that even means, all lies in technology. And who developed the technology to treat disease? Who developed the technology to make written word? Who developed the technology to be able to put that word on something that we can still utilize today, like paper? So, that being said, most of our class is going to be the discussion of how did humans actually come to have the civilization and culture that we have today. In addition to doing some just mostly discussions and presentations, you guys are going to have a couple of exams where you all are actually going to write the questions for each other. Hopefully, that now encourages you all to talk with each other, learn more together, and actually grow as a community, learning all about technology in early human history. Hopefully, you guys sign up for the class, and we'll see you then.